All right, guys, welcome back to the Bean Apple. It's been a little bit. We've been taking our off season, but now we're back. Time to start hitting it hard as the draft approaches. Really excited today. Got a special guest, Paul, as you see, Green Boy Esden Jr., huge Jets fan. So, of course, we're already great friends. Jim's back. John is kind of missing, but Paul's got his own channel blowing up recently. He's got some great interviews that he's done recently with Damian Woody, with Ledger Doozable. So Jets fans definitely check him out. I don't know if you've got anybody else coming on or scheduled, but you consistently putting out great Jets content every week, almost pretty much every day, really. So thank you for taking a few minutes and jumping on with us, talking about what's going on in the Jets world.
Joe, I just need more compliment. I need you to follow me around in my life to give me these kind of compliments. They feel sweet. It feels very nice. Thank you. It's been a blessing this offseason for this Mock Draft Monday series, which are all the guests you're talking about: Damian Woody, Leger Doozable, Connor Hughes, Connor Rogers, Trevor Sikkema. I mean, it's been the greatest guest list we've ever had. It's amazing. I just recorded Monday's episode, which is going to drop. John Ledyard of Pewter Report. You can follow him on Twitter at Ledyard NFL Draft. He's been doing it for a long time. He's awesome. That was a fun conversation. That drops on Monday at 8 a.m. So, yeah, baby, I'm trying to swing, baby. We're trying to smash some dingers. That's what we're trying to do for those interviews. I'm glad they're hitting for you guys.
Yes, excellent content. So, yeah, definitely want to talk about, pick your brain a little bit. Kind of, you've been talking to some people, so kind of get your insight into what you think is going on, what you're hearing, and kind of go over what the Jets have been doing. And, of course, Jim's going to drop, as he always does, the bombshell.
I bleed blue. I bleed blue.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys are just tuning in, please subscribe. Let Jim know why he's wrong on the Jets points or counterpoints, and let us know what you agree with and what you don't agree with. So, and with that, let's get going.
Welcome to the Bean Apple Podcast.
Belichick. I mean, I text him all the time. He just doesn't answer.
Somehow got mono. God knows who he was making out with.
Somebody had given me 2 tickets to a Jet game, and I had to run into a store. Came out, they broke my window, and they left 4 more tickets.
So I kind of want to start off with early, right? So if we jump back to the 2020 draft there, which was supposed to be the, I mean, we don't, but I feel like it's important to build upon, right? So that 2020 draft, to me, and I've said it publicly, I think it was an absolute disaster. Mekhi Becton, don't know what we're going to get there, right? I mean, you've got a quarterback that's not on the team anymore that you took in the 4th round as an experiment. You've got LaMichael P. Ryan, who could barely see the field. I mean, you've got Mims, who can't catch a pass. You got to go all the way down to Hall before you get a starting caliber quarterback, and that was late in the draft and just a complete flyer, really. So kind of curious to see what you think of. Is there anybody in that draft that's going to be a part of this build moving forward in the long term?
Well, let's go. And these are off the top of my head, but Jabari Zuniga ended up getting cut. You had Ashton Davis, who's been terrible. Cameron Clark retired from, unfortunately, a serious neck injury that occurred last year, which was super sad to see, obviously, for him. We had a punter, so Braden Mann was there in the 6th round. So we got that locked down, I guess. I
didn't think of that silver lining. That's
that's what we do on this show, baby.
Yes.
For Denzel Mims, obviously, I'll start there. But, Denzel Mims, I thought at the time it was a great pick. I love Denzel Mims coming out of Baylor. I thought he had a lot of potential. Thought he could be very interesting. And it was interesting because in that draft, the Jets traded back. They're at 48. And still on the board were Chase Claypool, Van Jefferson, and Denzel. And Joe Douglas says, we'll trade back. Well, we could still get one of those guys and a valuable asset, which ended up being those multiple 4th-round picks. And, of course, they trade back, still get Mims, which looked like a genius move at the time. But we saw Claypool, and he's been pretty good for Pittsburgh. And then, obviously, Van Jefferson, there was connection. Sean Jefferson was a wide receivers coach for the Jets, his dad, who was around for a long time. And that's just been a disaster. Now, the good news, hopefully news, it's not, you can't even call it good news, quite frankly, is that Denzel Mims will be working out with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is good, so you get that shout out. That'll be happening next week in Arizona. So hopefully they could try to cultivate some, but it seems like he is not going to be on the roster come this year. But the biggest piece of the puzzle is Mekhi Becton. And you're seeing the Instagram videos and him working out. And I'm like, okay, that's encouraging. But the thing that's not is we just have to see. Actually, it's going to be here in a couple of weeks. Off-season training activities start on April 18th. And he's basically going to step on the scale. And the Jets are going to know before the draft, like, is this guy serious about his craft? Or is he overweight and fat? And then they're going to be like, oh, geez, guess we're thinking offensive tackle with one of those top 4 picks in the top 38 of the draft. So that's going to be a telling point. That's a deadline, so to speak, for the Jets. But obviously, it's been disappointing. There was burst in that first year. Last year was a complete friggin' wash because he gets rolled up on week 1, out for the entire year. So he's the pivot point. But the rest of the class is meh. I like Bryce Hall. He's a guy I really liked. Injuries at Virginia are the reason why he slipped so late in the draft. But really, the only redeeming quality is Bryce Hall, who's a starter in the 5th. Denzel Mims is not going to be on the team. The 3rd-round picks are trash. The 4th-round picks are trash. There's a lot of trash, man. That's the key. But Mekhi Becton, I mean, he's the straw that stirs the drink. If he's great, then you look at the class and say, well, at least we got a franchise tackle. He's got that potential, but he hasn't showed it.
Right. So, so I mean, perfect segue to this past draft year. When you talk about earlier swinging for the fences. I mean, Joe Douglas connected on almost everything. I mean, where he swung, it went over the fence. It was absolutely incredible. And for those that have watched the show, like, and Jim can attest to this, like back in December, when we lost out on the Trevor Lawrence sweepstake and I started looking at quarterbacks, I said it's Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is the next best quarterback coming out. And then all of a sudden, Chris Sims and everybody else jumped on it. And
they jumped on your bandwagon.
Right. They heard the
podcast. It up, and not once did I get credited for that. I'm still upset. And one day I'll talk to Chris about this. But so I'm a believer in Zach Wilson. The shirt is absolutely true. I do believe there is a lot of talent there. I just think the team that was around him, and because of that 2020 draft, the team that was around him was bad. But when you saw the games against Jacksonville, against Houston, the weaker teams in the league that the Jets were really on par with, you saw the talent be able to shine a little bit more, right? Because he wasn't being smothered by the defenses and lack of weapons. But from Wilson to Vera Tucker to Elijah Moore to Michael Carter, 1st and 2nd, Brandon Eccles. I mean, the draft was just a slam dunk, I think. And it's amazing to see that a draft can go from so poor to so rich in a year. It's like, it's encouraging. And now what we've got going into this, and you kind of alluded to, and I'd like to get your ideas on what you see going forward. Elijah Moore missed a lot of time. Michael Carter missed a lot of time. Not a lot of snaps together as a unit. I mean, what do you think going forward with this draft now? Is this the beginning of what the Jets are going to be because of this draft?
I mean, there's no question that it has the potential to be a foundational draft. Now, obviously, that all starts and ends with Zach Wilson. Is he good, right? Or is he bad?
I was wondering if there was a question mark at the end. I can't see the end. Are you asking yourself if he's good? Because I'm not sure he is.
Yeah, that's right. So the people that made this, by the way, ZachWilsonIsGood.com. So very apropos for that. That's very nice. But you're right, because I think there is a question mark, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. We're trying to buy the hype and support local here for the shirts. But I mean, what he is ultimately defines the entire class. But to your point, it's great. I loved Elijah Vera Tucker. I love them trading up. I would have traded up more for AVT. He's a plug and play guy. Fantastic. Elijah Moore, I think, is going to be a stud. Michael Carter looked fantastic. He started off slow, role player, developed, got more of the piece of the pie as they progressed through the season. And a couple of things here that the concern, obviously, with Elijah Moore and Michael Carter, they both missed time. Remember, Elijah Moore had the quad injury, missed the entire preseason. Then it took him a while to kind of figure out the offense. Again, that transition from the college game to the pro game, that was a concern a little bit for Elijah Moore. Once he found it, he was phenomenal. And then he got injured on the back end. So he was kind of caked on both sides with the injuries, which was disappointing. So he's got to be able to prove he could stay healthy. Same for Michael Carter. He's a smaller back. So I think the Jets are, the sirens are going off for the Jets. That's why they've been so aggressive, trying to trade for a proven number one wide receiver. I think Elijah Moore could be that, but he hasn't stayed healthy. So you have to do your due diligence and round out the position. So I think that's why they've been aggressive, trying to get a number one wide receiver. That's why I think they're going to be aggressive and get a nice power back to complement Michael Carter on day 3 of the draft to really round out that unit. But this class is really good. And even the ones where I had questions about, like on day 3, Joe Douglas grabbed a bunch of darts and said, all right, Michael Carter II, Hamza Nasser-Lardine, Jamie Sherwood. He just started chucking crap at the wall to see what sticks. I'm like, wow, what an overloaded safety unit and cornerbacks and secondary. But as we found out, he converted 2 of those guys to linebacker in the Robert Saleh scheme, which was Hamza and Jamie. And then you had a couple of guys that just stepped up. Michael Carter II was brilliant last year. A lot of upside there, which you got to love. Jason Pinnock, less so. Again, he was kind of a super, aggressive corner, and he gets burned a lot. So they kind of threw a dart throw there. He was okay, although back end of the year converting to safety, he looked a lot better. But ultimately, the tried and true of all this is Zach Wilson. And credit the Jets. They won't let the Sam Darnold experience haunt them even more. If Zach Wilson fails, it's going to be on Zach Wilson. It won't be on the Jets. So again, they've improved the offensive line. Laken Tomlinson coming in, so they've improved that unit. Okay, they're going to improve wide receiver, whether in the draft or by trade. They're going to try to do that ahead of the 2022 NFL draft. So they're improving all the talent around him. And Zach Wilson obviously is on the tour of the United States of America as he tries to gain chemistry and camaraderie with every teammate on the planet. So that's nice. Nice to have an uncle that owns JetBlue, apparently. So, he's trying to do everything he can to kind of build that up. But as excited as I am about the entire class, again, it lives and dies by Zach Wilson.
That's true. That's true. So I mean, now you talk about Laken Tomlinson and the free agency. Not a lot of big splashes that I think a lot of Jets fans were hoping for. I mean, we were really hoping to bring in the home run. They tried with Tyreek Hill, and really Drew Rosenhaus just did us dirty. Going out there and
move, by the way,
dropping the news that the trade was agreed and the contract was under negotiation, and making the other teams try to jump in there like. That's right up there with the whole Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, right. Where he
Kirk
just
Cousins
says,
things a couple years ago.
Prop him up. Right, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So not very happy with that, but
they made them. What's the real draw? What's the real draw for Tyreek to come to the Jets right now? So I get there's a lot of hope, and the guys want him, and they believe that Zach's going to be the future. Yeah. And I was surprised with all the big names moving around this offseason, or really just the last few weeks.
Yep.
Who's going to come to the Jets when it's, now you look at what Miami just did. Miami now has leapfrogged even further up in the East, which neither one of you are going to be happy with. But I mean, Buffalo's still the team to beat. Now I think Miami has jumped up over New England, so I think this year is another year that is going to be a struggle for Gang Green, right? And you guys, and what do you do from here? I mean, right now there is no, you're looking at the draft as the answer, let's say, but really there's no draw for any big names to come here right now.
Well, the other thing I would say on the Miami thing is, if I'm Tyreek Hill, why the hell did he pick a left-armed limp noodle bastard and Tua? Like, okay,
I'm with you.
Tyreek Hill could be like, he could be at the line of scrimmage. All right, ref, am I good? Whoop, and do like I'm open, and then Tua goes, huh, and he pegs a fan in the stands. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, look at that accuracy. I mean, look at that limp biscuit. I don't know how much I'm buying in on Tua, the Tua Tyreek connection. Yeah, maybe if it's a 2-yard out, he ain't throwing it deep.
Right.
Yeah, he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So, yeah, I'm not really concerned about that connection. So, yeah, Tyreek, sure, the beach, the babes. Yeah, sure, you want to go to Miami for that. Okay. State income tax, fine. But you certainly didn't go there for the quarterback, okay? Even if you don't want to be the biggest Zach Wilson fan of the world, at least he has an arm, Tua. I mean, that's limp. And then he's got like a plastic hip. Okay, Grandpa, I'm sorry. I don't know. It doesn't really do it for me.
Okay.
No. That's a good point.
But anywho, in terms of your question, like, what do you do now? I think there are really 2 options realistically, because I've heard all the, AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, like within reason. I think the real fish that's out there to me is DK Metcalf. Now, what's it going to take? because, again, speaking of limp arm quarterbacks, they got Drew Lock over there. Now, that doesn't really tickle the testes. I don't feel really great about Drew Lock, all of a sudden being a franchise quarterback out there on the West Coast. Not really diving in on that train. Now, if they would have done something crazy, right, like Deshaun Watson or God knows what, to get a proven quarterback there, then okay, obviously you pay DK and you go to town. But the fact of the matter is, if I'm Seattle, and obviously they're blowing this thing up, I turn around and hand DK Metcalf, from what I'm hearing, $25 million at least a year. What? And so I'm paying him, God knows what, a 5-year, $125 million deal. Am I doing that from the Seahawks, or I look and say, wow, I could trade him right now with no cost impact in terms of cap? He's in the last year of his deal. Whoever's trading for him is the one who's paying for him, and we get a bunch of picks. If I'm Seattle, even though I love DK Metcalf, if I'm Seattle, I'm switching Jets hat off and putting Seahawks hat on, looking for the best interest of them, I completely blow this thing up. As soon as you traded Russell Wilson, it was over to me.
Right.
So I think DK Metcalf could be had, and a crazy bidding war couldn't you, right? Packers need a wide receiver. Chiefs need a wide receiver. Jets need a wide receiver. A million teams need a wide receiver. I would investigate that heavily if I'm the Jets, and I fully expect them, quite frankly, too. They've already made a call to the Seahawks to try to gauge interest. The Seahawks kind of went, kind of playing coy. No, he's not really available. Hang up.
Sure.
If I'm Joe Douglas, I keep calling back every day. It's a ritual. Hey, what's up? What's up, Schneider? Yeah. What's up,
Right, they didn't utilize him when they had Russell. They weren't even using him. So you're not targeting him. Let him go. Get what you can. Sell high.
Help me help you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Well, we agree on something. Very good. Okay.
Wow.
That wasn't
okay. Check that one. Is there a ding in the background? Check that one off the bucket list. Very nice. Yes.
I like it. So all right. So let's jump into what we've got coming here up in less than a month now.
Yeah.
Right. So the draft. I mean, you do your mock drafts every Monday.
Yes, sir.
And ton of mock drafts across the board. One of the things, and I think we'll both agree on this, is I don't think anybody has a clue where the Jets are going at 4 or 10. I mean, I can't remember a time where there was so much disagreement on where the Jets can go. I mean, because like you said earlier on with Mekhi Becton, you could go with Neal or what's his name?
Could Ike Ekwonu could be an option. Charles Cross could be an option. Yeah.
Right. So you've got that. I mean, you've got Thibodeau that's fallen down draft boards like crazy, amazing edge talent that we need. But with Hill coming over as well, with Diggs up there in Buffalo as well, having Gardner, actual lockdown corner. I mean, that kid, 60 yards last year that he gave up receiving, no touchdowns in his entire college career. I mean, that is insane. So, I mean, and then I've even seen crazy ones where they're taking a wide receiver at 4, which if that happens, I probably will lose my mind. But with the talent that's going to be there at 4 and the way that boards keep shuffling, I mean, I'm really curious to see with the continuous mocks that you're doing, with the people you're talking to in the Jets, like what's the overall feeling?
The inkling that I'm getting, and again, this is one of the wildest drafts I think we've ever seen, because normally us Jet fans, especially within the month of April, we have some indication, especially since we're normally high in the draft. So
you're normally first.
This is normal
got
for
our
us.
pick of the litter, quite frankly. It's not like we're in 25 and going, oh man, who could be there? We haven't had that problem in a few years. So the fact of the matter is like this is as much of an inkling as is possible in what has been the craziest NFL offseason of all time. But it seems like in a perfect world, the edge rusher of their dreams is sitting there at 4. And it's going to be some combination of, again, I think Aiden Hutchinson is well off the board, but I guess we can never say never with all the nonsense that's been going on. But you would hope that either Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau is there. And quite frankly, again, you're sitting at 4. All you need is someone else to do something crazy in front of you, and one of them will be there. I mean, that's just the math. I was unaware math would be a part of today's show, but nonetheless, here we are. So the math says one of those guys would be there. For me, And I think for the Jets, based on everything I've heard, I think Kayvon Thibodeau is a guy. I don't think they're buying any of the bull crap about his personality, and he likes to talk about his brand, and I don't think they give a flying hoot. They're like, can you sack the quarterback? I don't care what you do on your own time. TikTok, video, dances, cinnamon challenges, and all these crazy things all these kids are doing nowadays. I don't think they care about any of that crap. Can you get after the quarterback? Because quite frankly, the Jets haven't had that in a while. They haven't had a double-digit sack guy since 2015. 2015, and that was Muhammad Wilkerson. That was a hot second ago. So they need some chutzpah. They need some juice. They need some pass rush. And to me, I think it's Kayvon Thibodeau. So it doesn't always work this way where the Jet fans want this and the team wants this, because sometimes we're not in line. And a random example for you guys, this offseason, Jet fans say, holy crap, we need a linebacker. The Jets team, from everything I'm hearing, they're like, you fans don't know what you're talking about. We're good at linebacker. So sometimes there's a disconnect between fans and team. In this particular case, I think a lot of Jet fans want Kayvon Thibodeau, including myself. He's a number one player on my board. I think he's going to be a superstar, especially matching him with Salah. I think is going to be phenomenal. If indeed that happens, I think the Jets team wants Kayvon Thibodeau. So for me, I think he's the pick at 4 if he's on the board. The only possible thing that could throw that aside is their weird man love for Ike Ekwonu, the big-time offensive lineman out of NC State. Joe Douglas is a former offensive lineman. He likes hog molly play. That could be intriguing because obviously we don't know what Mekhi Becton is. We will know, thankfully, like I said, when he steps on the scale, they'll have some indication of, again, if he's way overweight, they're like, we know what we need to do. But if he's on course and looks good, they could say, you know what? We're still probably going to take an offensive lineman within the top 38, probably, I would imagine, worst case 69 with their third-round pick. But if he looks good, they can wait. If he doesn't, it may be more pressed urgently. And maybe Ike Ekwonu, if somehow he's there on the board, or Evan Neal, whichever of the tackles, because some combination will be there, that could be the way they lean.
Okay. I mean, it's enticing, right? I mean, either way. And you've also got Kyle Hamilton's name that's jumping around there, too, who looks – I mean, safety at 4, that's a hard pill for Jets fans to swallow, obviously. But, we've missed all over the top. So, I mean, just to be like, we can't take this position because of this or the other. I mean, we drafted D. Milner a couple years ago. It was supposed to be a can't-miss corner. And, nobody even knows where he is. He's selling insurance in North Carolina now or something. But, it's bad. So, the whole, to me, the whole fear of past drafts, you can't let that haunt you. But I mean, when you're talking about the edge or the offensive linemen that are going to be there, taking a wide receiver at 4 seems like it's completely out of the question. But then when you get to 10, if you could walk away with Kayvon Thibodeau at 4, and who is your dream player at 10?
First off, I got to throw Jim under here. I'm going to be honest, Jim. I hate you, and we've just met. So I want to explain why I hate you, because you want to know what the Giants have done, right? So we each have 2 top 10 picks, which is pretty cool. That's great that we had this thrilling conversation, and the entire offseason has been wild because of it. Because again, Giants 5-7, Jets are 4-10. The thing that I hate is I love Sauce Gardner. As an example, out of Cincinnati. I love Sauce. I thought he was a stud before he started blowing up with the combine, and all his numbers are insane. Here's the thing. The Giants apparently love Sauce Gardner. So, okay. So it's like the Giants are like, hey, Jets, if you want Sauce, you better flip and take him at 4 or else we're taking it. So I hate that because I'm like, son of a – because now you're forced to do something because there's no way on this God-green earth that Sauce is going to be there at 10. To answer, again, to kind of reverse into Joe's question, a perfect combination is somehow, some way, you double-dip defense. You get Sauce and KT, whether it's inverted, which apparently, according to the Matt Miller reports, that there is some talk among scouts and everything that Kayvon Thibodeau could start to slide. And, again – if somehow the Jets could get Kayvon Thibodeau at 10, which makes no sense whatsoever based on how good he is, that would be one of the wildest things I've ever heard. But again, there's no way to do what I want, because the other precipice for what I want and what will lead us there is, again, the potential DK Metcalf trade. Because if you can because again, we saw what the Tyreek Hill package was. It was 35, 38, 69, and you get Tyreek Hill plus a pick just outside the top 100. So it's kind of a third-round swap. So you could have filled your wide receiver hole without using a first-round pick. And again, if that happens, again, to my point, double-dip defense, and then in theory, you get the best of both worlds. But the reason I hate Jim's goddamn guts is I think that they're going to take Sauce. I think it's I dare you. And Salah's going to be like, well, we're not taking a corner with the 4th overall pick. We need edge. We need trench play. We need whatever. And then the Giants are going to go, okay, we'll take whatever offensive lineman you didn't. So that's going to be Icky, Evan Neal, whoever, plug and play next to Andrew Thomas. And then, whoop, we're going to go Sauce Gardner because the Panthers are taking whatever offensive lineman you didn't or quarterback, and boom, they got Sauce, who I think is going to be a superstar, and then they get the top offensive lineman. That's what I'm afraid of. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to be like, son of a, and I'm going to see Sauce, interception, bro.
That's right. That's right. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, so I hate you, Jim.
And I do. I've seen memes already with him with the Giants jersey on, and I do agree that that's probably the way they're going. They let Logan Ryan go. They're looking to trade Bradbury, so they got to bring some guys in, and Sauce is going to be one of the guys, I'm sure.
So again, disgusting. To go back to your question, Joe. So what dream pick? With my dream, I try to be realistic, right? A dream. Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. Okay, dumbass. Okay, great. Right. Cool dream, bro. So we got to do like a realistic dream here. So Kayvon Thibodeau, let's just say he's the 4th overall pick, which with the holy God above us, hopefully he is. Then we go over to 10. I think you got to go wide receiver because I don't think you're going to get like the offensive lineman run is going to be gone. I think Neal, Aquanu, and Cross are all going to be gone. So if you go for offensive line, then you're reaching. So you can't do that. And then edge you just got, so you won't double dip with the 2 top 10 picks, although the Jets need it. You won't. So then the next best thing in terms of value and marrying everything together outside of a trade back, which I think the Jets are open to, is you go best wide receiver on the board. And again, I think there's a lot of different wide receivers I like. I love Treylon Burks. The athletic testing numbers weren't quite what they should have been, so I think he could slip. I love Drake London. He reminds me of a poor man's Brandon Marshall with both the Giants and Jets days of making plays happen. He intrigues me greatly. Garrett Wilson's pretty damn good. And I think the wild card, quite frankly, and the pick that I will make for this dream pick, and I haven't really said it anywhere else, is Jameson Williams out of Alabama. You would think with the torn ligament that no way in hell the Jets would kind of gamble on that. But actually, quite frankly, with the Adam Schefter video he shared out where he's looking good and looks like a target date for training camp, I think really he could be the guy. And again, I think he's the closest to Tyreek Hill. Now, again, to give you a Tyreek Hill is easier said than done, but he's got the Tyreek Hill skill set that if that's what the Jets are looking for, like they're looking for a square peg, I think square peg is Jameson Williams, and he could be the pick. He's a burner. He's talented. Again, you're projecting long-term because there's a chance that he's not ready for training camp. There's a chance you miss him for a little early portion of the season, but I think that's something the Jets are willing to do because you don't invest first-round picks for an early pop. You do it for the career. So he would be the dream pick right now, pairing him with KT.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So
that's good. I got the Joe stamp of approval. Excellent.
Wow. So I have been on Jameson Williams since the get-go. He is you watch the film, by far and away the best wide receiver in the draft. And I mean he's projected to still run a 4.2 40, which is insane. But you watch his game tape and he just leaves defensive players behind. It's ridiculous. I really like Treylon Burks as well if the Jets do decide to trade back. And I know like his numbers didn't look good in a bubble, but when you watch that game film, he just wins. He wins and he leaves players. So I don't know why he ran a slow 40 and frankly, I don't care because when he puts the pads on, that's when it matters. Like, it doesn't matter what you can run in compression shorts. It matters, what you can do when you're being chased. And he leaves players behind when he's being chased. But Jameson Williams, man, I like it a lot. And I've had the same argument. I don't care if he misses week 2, week 3, week 4. I need him to play weeks, 6 through 17. That's where, and for the next couple years. And you're right. I mean, Tyreek Hill part 2. Potential there. I absolutely love that. If that's how it ended, I'm calling round 1 a complete win for the Jets.
There you go. And by the way, a quick nugget on Jameson Williams. So John Ledyard, like I said, the episode drops on Monday. A thing he said about Treylon Burks that he really likes and teams really like is that in the 40-yard dash, right? So you start in this weird stance, you kind of get going, and you see whatever we talk about 10-yard split. That's kind of like explosiveness. But he says the thing that teams like on the 40-yard dash is the second 20, right? So the ending 20, that's a more realistic, natural NFL position you're in because you're already in full speed. So that can translate to the next level. They say that's what they say on tape, to your point, is that he is bullied. When you watch game tape, his game speed is far faster than the crappy 40 he ran both at the combine and then some of his numbers at his pro day. So, again, maybe people just call all bullshit on the athletic testing numbers and he's just phenomenal. They just skip all that and the scouts aren't listening to that. And then he ends up, I think he's going to translate. I think he's going to be a stud. You have to go to the right team to use him, but the Jets would be a great fit. Because again, everyone tries to find the next Deebo Samuel. Deebo is one of one, but if you're trying to find that kind of quality and traits in a wide receiver, I love Treylon Burks, man.
Yeah. Big, strong, physical, fast. So
freak.
Yeah, he looks really, really good. So, yeah.
So what if so you're talking about DK Metcalf, right? So if DK Metcalf is open, Seattle is open to trade him, and what does that package look like? Would the Jets be willing to trade both number ones for DK, or would it be a package of the number 4 and some other picks, future picks? What would you be okay with doing?
Yeah, so I would both first rounders would be too rich. And again, if to use this as the basis, now they're different, which will explain with value. So Tyreek Hill would have went for 2 2s and a 3. And the 3 was a swap. So really, you can even wipe that off the board and just call them 2 2s, which are very high. So that has to be considered. But Tyreek Hill is a 6-time Pro Bowler, one of the best wide receivers in all of football. Now let's juxtapose that with DK Metcalf for a second. He's much younger, 24 years of age, to Tyreek Hill's 28. So there's an age gap there, but also with age comes proven track record. Like, I know Tyreek Hill is a freak. Like DK, he's shown some pops, and I think he's really good, but he's not, to me, a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now. I wouldn't put him in that category. So that's where we get funky with pay. So with the things you have to consider with both trades, right? You had to pay each of them. Tyreek Hill just got a fat new deal from the Dolphins. DK, wherever he gets traded, is immediately going to sign a monster extension. So the contract talks, those are equal. Those go out the window. And then, like I said, you're talking about resume versus potential. And so to me, I think the Seahawks would realistically, they'd call the Jets or vice versa. And the Seahawks are going to say, we want the 10th overall pick. And the Jets are going to be like, ugh, no, we were not going to do it. Hang up the phone. And they're going to try to force feed the Tyreek Hill package. I would only imagine if you're Joe Douglas, say 35, 38, 69, let's go. And the Seahawks are like, nah, this is DK Metcalf. Come on, baby. And I think, again, if they say 10th overall pick, that's our offer. I think eventually Joe Douglas goes, okay, I'll do it. Because they seem so gung-ho on just making a blockbuster deal. The way they talk, the bravado of Joe Douglas, the bravado of Robert Saleh, the ownership, obviously, with Woody Johnson back, it seems like they're looking for a splash. And obviously, DK would be a sexy splash. So I think the 10th overall pick would be around the package that it would take and would really intrigue both sides. And again, if you just give up the 10th overall pick, let's call it straight up. There may be another mid-round pick thrown in there, but let's call it the 10th overall pick. If you're the Jets, you still have 4, 35, and 38. You still have a first rounder, 2 second rounders. So if you even just go to a general census, you're like, wow, we're still better than most NFL teams are. If teams just have 1 pick per round, which is normal before any trades, wow, we're doing pretty well. We just filled wide receiver. So that's the tempting part of this. I do think they're going to go buck wild, and it's hard to see them getting beat by anybody because obviously they have the assets and the money. And outside of the weird Tyreek Hill thing where the Chiefs let him pick, like apparently they didn't care that obviously the Jets package was better, but they didn't seemingly care. They said, Tyreek, you pick whatever. We'll take whatever assets, which is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. But okay. Yeah. So, that's kind of interesting. But I think that's around the package it would take for DK. And I think ultimately, whether it's the Jets or somebody else, I think he does get traded.
That's going to be something to see. And why not? I mean, with this offseason, why not, right?
Yeah, right. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they trade him?
Yeah,
100%.
And
there's no reason to keep him.
That might be a trade that happens draft night when the Jets are on the clock. I mean, really.
But that's the thing. With any of these trades that happen on draft night, obviously, and again, I'm a big fan of the movie Draft Day. I'm not sure where you guys stand on that.
Oh, yeah.
Both fans? Oh, thank God. Yeah. Because I've been on a couple of shows recently where I'm like, I bring up Draft Day. They're like, the worst movie ever. I'm like, shut the hell up. I'm off the show. See you later. And I walk away.
Worst movie ever. Wow.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's my favorite movie. I'm going to be honest. Every year, Thursday night, I watch that every day before the draft. Every Thursday, every year before the draft.
So
it's a tradition.
Does that movie bother you that they're drafting and the trees are green outside?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And I don't know if you guys
always bothers me.
Yeah, and the other thing that's a fun fact is the Jets were supposed to be the team. It wasn't supposed to be the Browns, for those who don't know. It was supposed to be the Jets for draft day, but they had some weird, I can't remember, it was coaching change or something happened where they were uncomfortable and they said, I guess we'll do the Browns. So Sonny Weaver would have been the Jets, and that would have been so cool. Again, I would have watched it. I do watch it every year, even though it's centered around the Browns, but how cool would it have been even extra if it was the Jets every year? So that would be kind of a cool, great. Fun story there. But none of that stuff bothers me. The weather doesn't bother me, nor does the fifth value. Technically, that doesn't make no. It's a movie. We all suspend our disbelief whether we're watching Rocky or whatever. At the door, when I come into the movie theater, I'm like, okay, here's all my logic. I don't go, that doesn't make sense. Rocky was wearing a red shirt before. No, I'm like in the movie. I'm like, baby, this is happening. That's happening. You know. So
we do have to hope Joe Douglas is Kevin Costner. This year.
Hey,
I mean,
not a bad guy, and try to make that move. And I want him to make sure he puts the phone on mute and he's like, "What do we need? What do we need? Putney, get me Putney."
That's right.
It doesn't matter. Give me Putney. That's what I want. I want our Putney this year.
Oh man,
Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Yeah, that's it. That car. Oh, baby, that's like what I just pulled that Vontae Mack, no matter what, baby. Boom. Oh,
that's great
movie, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Good.
All right.
Well, 2 agreements. No good.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. God says lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place, but look at us. Who would have thought we'd be here, huh? Who?
Wow.
Not me. That's for
no.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right. So, all right. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up with that. Getting a little long in the tooth. So do appreciate you taking some time to spend with us, being the first official interview of significance. We've had some friends on, we've had some people on, but
you hear that?
Yes.
Wow, what a title! Wow.
Yes.
We've had a couple of our guys on that's talked their favorite team and stuff like that, but first guy with some inside insight and
haven't had Boy Green. No.
That's it. So, everyone needs a little bit of that in their life, okay?
Yeah.
Little Boy Green.
So so again, drop your channel, drop your what you've got going on, and we'll roll out with that.
All right. So we just talked about Kayvon Thibodeau branding. So at BoyGreen25 branding. Make sure you hit me up wherever, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Twitter's the fire. That's where I'm at most often, where people interact and with the tweets and videos and interviews and a lot of that action. But I'm everywhere. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then the main thing I've been promoting over the last 2 years, and like I said, it's had a recent uptick with all the guests and everything, which has been cool, is YouTube, which of course, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button for all that fun stuff. We got some good stuff planned for the draft. Like I said, John Ledyard drops on Monday. And we got, like I said, a lot of fun stuff for the draft that I'm looking forward to. So, guys, I'm humbled. Thank you so much for having me on this esteemed program. This is fantastic, man. Appreciate you.
Oh, esteemed. Talk about the compliments flying. No.
Very good.
I do appreciate your time. Very, very honored to have you on. Thank you so much. And then we'll close it out. So for Jim, for Boy Green, I'm Joe, and we'll see you guys next time.